Welcome to Bash You Live, everybody. Great to have you with us today. Going to be a fun show. We've got Kyle Patrick with us today, brand new elite qualifier, big personality out on social. Going to be he got his first dub this year at the Ozarks, Lake of the Ozarks, going to the Classic, going to be fishing the elites. Looking forward to hearing the story. He's another really young angler going to be invading the Bassmaster Elites this year. Going to be part of making that field. I think one of the toughest fields we've seen in the elites in recent years. So pretty awesome. Looking forward to talking to him. Want to give a shout out to a couple folks. Smallmouth Crush. I visited with those guys last night and had a lot of fun talking about everything fishing, Bass University, and Lake Champlain, and of course we had some cool debates. A lot of fun hanging out with Epic, Eric, and Travis. Appreciate you guys, and Brett was there, special guest, just winner on Lake Champlain this year. So we had a lot of fun. Go check that show out. Also was on BTL in the morning. I'm making my rounds, Riz. I'm all over the place.
Nice job on BTL, by the way, man. That was a good interview there.
Thank you.
It's good job to Matt too.
Yeah,
really handled it well.
Thank you, Matt.
Big personality.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Team.
Appreciate you having me on BTL. It's Bass University season. We're getting ready for our events, so we're spending a lot of time talking about that. If you guys haven't got your tickets yet, go get your tickets, man. They're available at thebassuniversity.com right now. Come see us. We're going to have a blast out on site. And we have a Bass U meetup, which we're going to be putting together. Right, Jocelyn?
There may or may not be barbecue.
There may or may not be a barbecue. There will. We're going to make it happen. But there will be some fishing on Lake Athens. So come join us. If you're going to be, whether you're coming to Texas or you're coming to Shreveport, we want to invite you guys to come down and fish with us on Lake Athens in, I think, what is it, January 22nd and 23rd. More details to come. Check out social, check out the website. Of course, if you have a ticket to one of the classes, we'll be emailing you the deets real soon on that. So a lot going on at Bass U. So having a lot of fun going around and talking to all the guys on the podcast and all the variety of podcasts. Also want to give a shout out to our own BTC, who is on Bass After Dark with Ken Duke. Many of you guys know them as being part of the Bass University live show from time to time. Mr. Duke has been the host. Of course, BTC was the original producer here at the Bass Live podcast, and he is now doing Bass After Dark with Ken, taking on some interesting topics. I know we had Randy Blaukat on here talking about forward-facing sonar. They had him on in their most recent show, I think on Thursday night with Ben Milliken, and going at it, pros and cons as that debate rages. And I think it's raging in the way of, man, forward-facing sonar is here to stay, guys. You better start loving it because it's an awesome tool, and it can really make fishing fun. And we talked about that last night. Epic Eric kind of caught us in a bit of a twist. He was sneaky that way because the question was, "What's your favorite way to fish?" And we're going around the room, and I flipping, right? That's I love to flip. I have a lot of success flipping, but I love that excitement of getting that bite, setting the hook on a big fish. It's one of my faves. Travis, kind of was in that court too. Top water came up, and here's where he trapped us. He goes, "Nobody said looking at him on the screen as their favorite way to fish." That was sneaky, Eric.
Yeah.
But
tell you what, though,
he tricked
you water. It's fun. You know what I mean? You get up there on Champlain, and they're on the pelagic bait fish, and they're on the alewives, and you can see them. I mean, dude, it's fun. It's fun watching them shoot up, and catch your drop shot or catch your swim bait and just they got it. It's a good time. I mean,
I use it whether the thing is it's become so much part of the game
sure,
that I'm using it in every aspect.
yeah, all the time.
Of
Like
fishing.
fishing grass out on the flat. That forward facing sonar. I mean, we've always been using Humminbird 360,
Yeah.
but that forward facing sonar is just as valuable as any other tool on the boat out there when you need to make the right cast down a grass line that you can't see on high tide.
Yep.
It's the deal. So like, yeah, I guess I'm looking at the screen when I'm fishing a chatterbait. So
yeah, it was just sneaky because he's anti forward facing sonar and
Is
he's
he?
trying to trick us.
Eric is?
Yeah, I think he.
Come on, E.
I wouldn't say he's hardcore like anti,
Yeah.
but he, it's not his favorite thing.
Sure.
He'd prefer to just go fishing, I think.
Yeah, understandable.
But that was a trick, and he got us. Good one, E. And
Sneaky.
But yeah, we talked about a lot of fun stuff there. Go check out Smallmouth Crush. And that's available on YouTube and wherever else you can get your podcast. Guys, if you're watching over on social, like and share the feed. We're going to be giving away. What are we giving away?
Cortland line.
Yes.
There, it's actually right there in front.
Excellent. We love Cortland. Of course, Travis and I were talking about it. We had Rombanis on the show talking about his use of 8-pound master braid on his spinning reels, which is a tremendous tool in current and deep water. I use 10. He's encouraging me to get after and spool up with the 8 in certain applications. And
Are you going to try it?
I'm definitely going to try it. No doubt. The 25% off Cortland line, guys. If you want to give it a try, you're going to love it. It's amazing fishing line and the silent flip. There's 2 lines, the master braid and the silent flip that I use. Highly recommend using them. The 15-pound test on my spinning rod, man, it's tough, cast like a dream, and you can finesse fish with really a power backing on that line. So go get some, try it, and it's 25% off on our. If you're a member of Bass University, check out the member benefits and go get yourself hooked up. Epic Eric also was wearing a hat that he won on our show. So he often participates, wins the grand prize. He's not Dan Allen, but
they should compete.
They should compete because he has won a fair amount. But Dan, I don't know, he's the champ. But for our grand prize, what are we giving away today?
We actually have a Bass University had some Cortland line and some missile baits.
Oh, that's a big prize pack. Pay attention to the show. We're going to be talking about. We're going to be asking a question. We'll be typing that question on the IM board on BassU.TV. So if you get that, if you're the first to get the correct answer to whatever that question may be, we're going to be hooking you up with a great grand prize pack. Tickets are on sale. We have an amazing deal going on right now for Bass University TV. If you can't make it to the classes, get subscribed. I know a lot of you guys are. Tell your friends. It's a great time of year. We have an amazing deal going on, which includes a $50 Tackle Direct coupon, which you can apply directly to your Christmas gift this year. So get yourself signed up, get subscribed. Spend a lot of time. We're on forward-facing sonar. Spend a lot of time on podcasts talking about Brian Schmidt and his amazing use of that technology.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think of him when they think of that technology, but he's used it to win.
Oh yeah,
at least twice.
Yep.
At least 2 blue trophies he's got with it. He was, there at the beginning, has become incredibly dialed and effective with that strategy, and he's teaching us about it on an on-water training session, which we filmed with him just recently, and we're going to be releasing on Bass University TV soon. You definitely want to check that out. He really breaking down his system on power. I would call it a power and finesse approach to using that technology. Must see. That's going to be coming out on Bass U TV. Ike's late fall, early winter strategies, hard baits, soft baits, and metal. 3 really great topics that Mike tackles you're fishing this time of year. I hope you are. I hope you didn't put your rods down, and you're going to continue to fish through the year. We love fishing this time of year, but he's got great strategies for his tools that he uses that time of year. Look for that to be released on Bass University TV. What else? What else is what's being released right now, Rich?
Yeah, so actually this week we're releasing the first of the late fall, early winter series with Mike. This week's release is top 3 hard baits for the late fall, early winter, and that's a really good one. Breaks down all 3 parts of the water column: top, middle, bottom. Still, even in the late fall, he has a theory to why certain baits are going to be most effective in their respective columns of the water. So you definitely want to check that one out. And then this week for our seminar, our classroom release, we got our good friend Brandon Coulter, and that seminar is Wake It, Walk It, and Pop It. And what that means, yeah, I know you like that one, Josh. So
Who
what
let this go through?
What's that?
Who let this name go through?
Wake It, Walk It, Pop It. That's all me, brother. So, but that seminar is about, as you can take from the title, wake baits, walking baits, and popper style baits. And Brandon is sneaky good when it comes to the wake baits and the walking style baits. He's got a ton of experience throwing those, and all the way back to the long A days to now the modern style popper baits. Yeah, that's a really good one. Brandon's a natural teacher, so check it out. It's good stuff. As I got to go fix the camera.
and really excited about some of the classes that we have. Like I said, we want you to come to class. It's so much fun. A lot of people feel like they are able to learn a lot better in class. That's awesome. One of the things that you don't account for quite as much is the camaraderie. You're going to be in a classroom sitting right next to a guy that loves the sport just as much as you do. A lot of people are making lifelong fishing buddies and friends from their attendance at Bass Universities over the years. So come on out and join the classroom events. If you absolutely can't make it, of course, you're a subscriber to Bass U TV. We will be streaming all the classes that we filmed and edited and released on Bass University TV. So you get to see it all. So we love it either way. Come to class or watch it on Bass U TV. That's what we got going on. We have Kyle Patrick is going to be with us. Guys, if you're just tuning in, he's won an open this year. He's one of the super young, talented anglers that's entering the elites. He's qualified for the Classic. He's going to be fishing in 2024. And he's from New York, from our part of the country up here, but we'll be cheering for him to go through that process. But I'm looking forward to talking to him, how he got there, what are his techniques and strengths, and what the elites are going to be looking like for him. So can't wait for that. So we're is there anything else I missed? I always miss something.
Oh, yeah, today is Aaron Martens Appreciation Day. That's the
most important.
Yeah, Aaron, he unfortunately is not with us anymore. As I'm sure anybody who was watching the show knows, he had a long fight with brain cancer, but he truly was one of the gifts that we had to the fishing industry, just as a human being, as an angler, really from top to bottom. I mean, Pete, he was like, so when I first really started the whole tournament fishing deal and like really started getting into it hard was when Aaron was just ripping off wins, and he was doing it. I can remember the drop shot, the toad flip flops, the whole deal. He was like a whole vibe. And yeah, man, we lost a good one with him, but we'll keep keeping his name alive. So,
well, I certainly I count myself fortunate. I got to know Aaron a little bit fishing out on tour. Of course, he spoke for us at Bass University, and you want to go check out Aaron's seminars at Bass University. He was innovative in the way he thought about fishing and the way he competed. Just there was a natural ability there that just, boy, you just don't see. And it was a treat to know him, and had a few experiences. Introduced me to sushi.
Oh, no, really? Absolutely.
It's
Thank you.
because I thought then, and I still think it's pretty gross.
Delicious.
Slapping a slab of raw fish on top of a lump of rice. But Aaron ordered this massive plate of sushi for me, and I'll be honest, it was awesome. I loved it all, and I would have never done it had he not pushed me down that road. But it was fun, hanging out with him and Rambanis and Ike, and we had the kind of the East Coast West Coast connection there for a few years out on tour. But love the guy, miss him so much, and it's a great opportunity for us just to remember Aaron and all the great things. And of course, he won on our body award of the Chesapeake, which was absolutely phenomenal. I told everybody, don't go to the Middle River. You're never, ever going to win there. Anybody that would listen, I said, don't do it. What does Aaron do?
Wins there.
He goes and wins there.
That 7-pounder on the last day is so awesome.
It's what was awesome about watching that, and I just want to remember him and his. It surprised me is his ability to read the tide, which is a skill that only guys like us that live on a coast have to deal with. Right, we're always facing flood tides incoming, blowout lows, and what are the strategies, how the fish behave for that sort of under those conditions, and I remember watching him. Throw spinnerbaits and chatterbaits onto the dock, under the piers, and the fish were nipping at it because it was like high tide. The fish were inactive. He was getting them to react a little bit, and he kept saying, when that tide gets lower, the bites are going to become more aggressive, when it's going to get better. And he recognized that, like a lot of people that don't tidal fish, probably never experienced that. But as that tide gets lower, they get more aggressive. And they go from bumping baits and swatting at them to committing to them 100%. And he knew to hang in there. He knew to wait and let that tide drop a little. And he did. And 7-pounders start coming in the boat, 4-pounders coming in the boat. And he grabbed that win away from Bill Lowen, who was also had a masterful tournament that week. But I still have vivid recollection of him on the Bassmasters going through that dialogue, fishing that dock. But we're thinking about you, buddy. We're with you and your family. I wish Leslie and your family and all the best on Aaron Martens Appreciation Day. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we are going to be right back. We're going to be diving into what's going on the elites and the classic. We got a big year coming up for a young man. We'll be right back to talk to him right after this.
The leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
The drop shot rod, the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network, will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Cortland Line Master Braid, America's premium super braided fishing line. Manufactured in our Cortland, New York facility and constructed from the highest quality Spectra fibers available. Cortland Line Company, made in America since 1915.
I have to have the best eyewear.
My eyes are essential to doing my job.
It's the highest quality lens that I've ever used.
Top of the line performance in these glasses.
But they're priced for absolutely everyone. The everyday angler can afford them.
As a touring professional pro, if I can depend on them, I know the weekend angler can as well. Hobie eyewear, built for the pros.
Price for everyone.
Welcome back, Bass University Live. I know we talked about Cortland Line as a pro member benefit for you guys over at bashu.tv, and just watch the Hobie commercial over there. And I want to go through, some of these other amazing offers. If you guys haven't done this yet, you got to do this. You got to sign up for the Rapala VIP program. It even gives you access to the new Crush City products, VMC Redline. You're not going to believe the opportunity over there for you guys. Go check it out. 25% off an Icon, or 15% off an Element Cash and Rod. This is great time. You're buying gifts for your fishermen, for yourself. 30% off missile baits. AquaView, 30% discount off AquaView cameras. We love them. It really shows you things that you just can't see otherwise. Hobie eyewear. You want to stock up for your glasses for next year. The Sightmaster Plus lens is an amazing sight fishing tool. We've got a great discount on the Nichols lures, 25% off Cortland fishing line. You want to check out the braided line. You're gonna love Cortland once you try it. Epoch batteries, 10% off. I'm running them. I never, ever run out of power. I mean, days. It's amazing what the lithium epochs can do. It's a really tremendous product. And exclusive, there's discounts on the Ike store. You want to go check that out. And a lot of great stuff all over Bass University, including Tackle Direct. So go check all that stuff out at your pro members benefits page, guys. Well, I'm really excited to talk with our guest today. He's another one of the very young anglers that is crushing it out on the EQs this year. And man, he crush it. He had a Ben Milliken year where he got a W, and he's going to the Classic, and he's going to the Elites. And I'm really excited to talk to him. He's from New York, not far from us, and excited to have him with us today. Kyle Patrick, how are you, buddy?
Great, man. It's awesome to be on Bass U. I grew up watching this, and this, Bass U is how I learned a lot of the techniques that I, apply at a high level now. So it's pretty, this whole thing's surreal to me, just to, have this opportunity. Small things like just being on Bass U. It's awesome. It's really cool.
That's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. It's so rewarding. We were talking with Ben Milliken. He was at the very first year we had Bass University classes, which was 2009. He was in the classroom. And it's amazing that he used the product. I really appreciate you saying that and using the product. I mean, that's why we built this stuff, man. It makes us feel awesome that it's having an impact for you guys out there.
Yeah, that's I think that's something that goes, you know, it flies under the radar a little bit how much time you have to put in to make things happen at you know, in bass fishing. And people just, I think a lot of people don't use the tools that are available for educational, you know, purposes. And I think that's something that needs to, you know, have more emphasis in the whole industry, is like the learning aspect, whether it's fishing, the business side. You know, we've seen a lot of controversy with, you know, the financial side of things and, you know, affording all this. So I think education needs to be on the forefront of, you know, our industry these days. There's a lot of variables, and people just need to, you know, become educated in everything.
Man, well, I'm glad that's so awesome. I'm glad we had a little part of helping in your, you know, career as you've gone. But how the heck how are you doing this, man? You're what, 25, 26?
26. You know, it's funny. It's good to hear that I'm young, because I feel young, but I think I'm the second oldest. Third. So it's Milliken is the eldest. Then it's John Garrett.
Right.
John Garrett and I are the same age. He's 26 or 27. But like, I feel young, and then I'm like, gosh, man, there's so much, 21, 19 or 18, 19. It's like, it's kind of a weird deal. Like I probably would have been the youngest had it been 2 years ago. Right. Like when, you know, qualifying. So it's just, it's good to hear that I'm young.
Well, believe me, you are. And I mean, it is such a young field. And, you know, historically, like I mentioned this before, like it didn't happen. You know, it was the guys in their 30s and their 40s that were really starting to excel and qualify. But this has got to be the youngest group in the history of the sport. How at 26 years old, I mean, how did this happen? Like, do you have a mentor that grabbed you by the hand, or what was the process to get you to this point?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So like I said, first, it's an obsession, right? Since I was 12, it's an obsession, and you have to have it. If you don't have it, it's not going to happen for you. We all have it. Probably everyone in your room and everyone here, obviously me, I have it. So watching all your videos, watching everything I could, becoming as proficient in just fishing as I could in upstate New York. So we got a lot of diverse fisheries up there, right? So grass fisheries, smallmouth fisheries, largemouth, you know, there's all types of different fishing. So I basically took my mom's Honda Pilot and a 16-foot bass tracker.
Yes.
With 50 horsepower. When I was 16 to 19, I just drove, man. Like I would get in my mom's Honda Pilot and drive to Candlewood randomly on like a Friday. And I would fish there for 2-3 days, and I would jump in a tournament on Sunday, and I'd get my butt whooped. Like, but just having that experience, like I just wanted to go to as many lakes as I could that I didn't know. And I think people get caught in going to like 2 or 3 or 4 lakes that they're really good on, and they crush, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to have like as much experience on tons of different bodies of water at a young age. You know, and then I went to college. I played college soccer for 4 years. I was still super obsessed with fishing, right? Like I started a company where we ran tournaments in upstate New York. That's how I met the folks at Douglas Outdoors. They kind of took it over, and I ran the tournaments under them. So I'm just in the scene, right? Constantly talking to anglers, like I said, learning from everyone, everything I could about fishing. And then I had a mentor, like you said, his name was Paul Pagnato, and he was in the industry. He knew, you know, personally, like John Cruz, Gerald Swindle, Chad Morgan Taylor, all these guys. And he provided me with an incredible opportunity. He said, you know, you travel with me. I'm going to sign up for all 9 opens. You know, if you can do this, you're going to travel with me. I'll pay for your co-angler entry fees. I'll pay for all your marshaling for the elites. And, you know, you can just travel and see what it's like to be kind of on the road and go to all these fisheries and, you know, meet Gerald Swindle. I remember the first time I met Gerald Swindle 3 or 4 years ago. And I was, you know, I'm like, holy smokes, that's Gerald. Like it stayed with him in a house with Gerald Swindle. And I was just in awe the whole time. But
that's awesome.
That was a cool opportunity, right? Not many people get that opportunity. You don't have to get an opportunity like that to do it. You know, you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, you need to be wealthy. Like, I don't buy into that. I think anyone can do it. I was fortunate enough to meet someone that was really able to speed up my learning process with the marshaling, with the opens. Fishing as a co is invaluable. I mean, it really is. Like,
yeah,
a ton of stuff. And I went in with the mindset of not winning or catching fish as a co, but learning from my boaters. That's really important that I think a lot of people tend to miss is like, I would say 80% of the time I was watching my, you know, boater, pro, whatever you want to call the guy in the front of the boat. I was watching him and seeing what he was doing. And I picked up a ton of stuff that I do now from being a co-angler and obviously in the back of Elite Series boats. So all of that kind of, everything I just described kind of worked into where I'm at, you know, today. And then of course electronics come around, and I really focused on trying to you know, be the best I could be with my side imaging, my forward facing sonar, my hummingbird mapping. Like, all of that is a massive deal. And that's why you're seeing such a young field, is because that technology has evened out the playing field. So you don't need 40 years of experience on, like you said, the Chesapeake Bay to figure out where the grass lines are anymore. You can just graph. You can go there and graph and find them and use your 360 and your forward facing sonar and use all these tools to and if you're proficient with them, it becomes less experience based, I'm not going to say it's nothing, but it's less experience based, more, skill based, I guess you could say. It's all, you know what I'm trying to get at. It's if you can become really proficient in fishing and then really good with your electronics, it makes it easier.
It's definitely, it seems to have sped up the learning curve. And I wonder if it's going to stay that way, because so many people are becoming so competent with it now. I think the younger generation was the first to embrace it, you know. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of catching up going on right now.
I think there is. And I think it's happened with baits. It's happened with one guy figures out, okay, like, for example, the A-rig. I mean, I watched the Milliken Randy Blockett battle on and
Bass After Dark.
Yeah, Bass After Dark. There were really good points made, but the A-rig was brought up, right? The first person or the first few people that really dialed in the A-rig, they're gonna excel, right? That's how competition works. If you find a competitive advantage, you're gonna utilize it. If it's legal, you're doing the right thing by becoming really good at a technique that is, you know, not as used. And that's the same with electronics, and it will even out. Everyone that, you know, wants to do it has. Everyone in the opens has forward facing sonar. I would say 99.9. So it's an even playing field. It's just who has, you know, that, you know, if factor when it comes to utilizing your electronics.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to see how that changes. And, well, it's clearly you've gotten good at it. What a neat story there, man. Grabbing your mom's car, taking the tractor around.
It had a peace sticker on the back. Like, it was like a mom car, like a beat up old mom car.
Man, I love that, with an old tracker. But you know, I'm jealous because New York, I love New York. I mean, it's my favorite place to fish on the planet. with the smallmouth, the largemouth. There's so many amazing bodies of water all over that place.
It is just nuts. Like Oneida, you've got, and then right across there's a little sneaky lake. Maybe not that sneaky, but Onondaga, it is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like I don't want to go into it because I don't want to blow it up, but it is ridiculous.
I got to fish that one time, and a buddy of mine, his son lives up there, and the stories from that lake are amazing. You've got the Finger Lakes that are, obviously Cayuga is one of my favorites, but we keep hearing stories about how amazing Seneca is.
Oh, so last year I scheduled a tournament with the Douglas Rods Big Money Opens. It's the tournament series that you saw was it 33 pounds of smallmouth they weighed? Yeah. The guys at Great Lakes Finesse, I think it was. They weighed a huge bag of St. Lawrence in that tournament trail. But we went to Seneca, and that place has like 8 9 pound smallmouth plus. Like it is equivalent to Cayuga, but kind of flies under the radar in the tournament scene there. So every Finger Lake is just ridiculous.
Outrageous. They back in way long ago in the early years of bass, they used to have tournaments on Seneca.
Really?
Yeah, they've had pro tournaments. I don't we have to ask Ken Duke what he could quote it right now, but
why does Cayuga get so much play and Seneca doesn't seem to get it at all?
I think I'm gonna guess it has to do with the launch site.
Launch sites, okay.
Yeah.
The northern end of Cayuga
good thing. Keep Seneca really good.
Yeah, because I went to school on the shores of Seneca. That's where I went to college there, right at the tip of the lake. And I just feel like they don't have the facilities for a 100+ boat tournament.
There's
50
that.
to 100.
Yeah, there's that. There's the community on the north end of Cayuga that wants to fund bringing the tournaments to town, which is very, very, very important. But here's where it comes back. Back in the day, they had more swamped boats on Seneca than Bassmaster had ever seen before. They, and the story was, we're much better now at driving in the rough stuff, and our boats are better than they
boats
were.
Aren't designed like a bathtub anymore.
Yeah. But they had guys running down Seneca Lake, and it's so deep, it's 500 feet or whatever. And when the wind blows, the waves just get nastier than Cayuga. Apparently, it gets ferocious, and they had like 20% of the field. I'm probably overstating it. Couldn't make it back. Guys got swamped, and so they never came back. And that's the story that I heard, Riz. That's why they haven't been back there. But now I hear all the local guys are trying to keep that lake under wraps because they don't want the word to get out how good it is.
Well, we just destroyed it. So
sorry.
Well, it's good. Well, you've got of course you're there at Oneida, and you got Watertown just right up the street, Thousand Islands, Paradise. You've got Champlain on the east. Of course, I love the Hudson River. Have you ever spent any time on the Hudson?
Yeah. So one of the now I'm going to say yes, but not with today's technology, not with my skill set now. But back when I had my mom's Holland pilot, I drove down there. Some random I was on looking for tournaments online, and I was like, oh, Hudson River. So I went down and just went into this like 15 boat club tournament, and of course I'm driving like 3.5-4 hours for like a $300 payout. But I went there and I spent the whole day flipping docks. I didn't really learn much, but it was cool to be on the body of water.
That is cool. That's a body of water that they don't go to anymore. I'd love to see them go back there. And but are there any other sneak lakes in New York that we don't know about that you're willing to tell us?
Just trying to think. I mean, there's tons of them, man. Like I grew up fishing on Seagull Lake, and that's in Cooperstown, New York, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful lake. The lady, there's a lady that she owns the Baseball Hall of Fame. Her name's Jane Clark, and she has she owns like the golf course, the hotel, but she also owns the entire mountain range surrounding almost the whole lake. And she has it in a trust. So it's 10 miles long and there's no houses on the entire, basically from 10 miles down all the way up. And then like halfway around the house, there's a few houses coming down, but she owns this whole thing. It's all in a trust. There's like, it's beautiful. Like, like really paradise. So it's pretty awesome.
I drove from, I guess it was Champlain over to Thousand Islands, like Messina or anyway. We drove through the Adirondacks. Drove through there seems like to be endless lakes over there that I'm like, wow, they have communities on them. They look awesome. Have you fished any of those?
Like the Adirondacks area?
Yeah.
Lake George, I fished. That place is pretty special. But no, not as many down in that region. I've mostly, if you take, you're going down 90, I guess it is. Like you basically go from Cooperstown or Albany up, right? Like towards Buffalo, like all the lakes in that region. That's where I've concentrated. Aside from like, going Candlewood, Hudson, but like that's where I've really dialed in and learned how to fish was, basically from Albany up to Buffalo. Haven't spent much time on Erie, but we run tournaments there. But like all the Finger Lakes, the lakes surrounding that region, that's where I've done like all my learning, I guess you could say.
Understood. The tracker is probably not the best tool out on Lake Erie in the Big 12.
Yeah, no, the 50 horsepower tracker is not the deal.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait for a super calm day. But all right. So you're a New York guy. You're traveling around getting all this experience, but man, now you're out on the Bassmasters. I mean, there's all these southern reservoirs, ledge fishing. Did you have any experience going into, starting fishing those opens on that type of water, or did you have to just kind of figure it out as you went along?
Kind of figure it out as I went along. Like I said, I did the co-angler, deal. So I knew some stuff that went on, did a lot of research, outside research. A lot of seminars like Bass U, just did as much research as I could. And then, the first year that I did the co-anglers, I actually jumped into the Central Opens as a boater. And I think I had a 150, a Pickwick. I finished 150th. Then we went to Smith Lake and I finished 120th. And then we went to Grand Lake and I finished like 70s. So like, it's not easy, right? Like, I'm thinking at this point, dang, am I going to sign up for all 9 next year? Or do I have to go back and kind of rethink all this? And then I was like, you know what? I got to give it one more shot. I think I have what it takes, because these are all things that everyone thinks about. Like if you have a bad year or you're kind of doubting, like you have to really think about like financially, is this going to be a play, like the right play for me? There's all kinds of doubts at that point for me. Is I have to make money. I have to figure out what I'm doing in 5-year plan, 10-year plan. So I jumped into it, and that year 2022 was when I felt like, okay, I can do this. I had a bad finish in Florida, but then I went on to have a bunch of like top 25s, top 30s. And I think the difference was forgetting a lot of what I knew, like keeping it in my back pocket, but starting completely fresh. Like I got out on a lake and I had no preconceived notions of what was going on. It was totally new to me. Like the Chesapeake Bay, I top 10 there. I was a mess on live, but it was the first time I was on FS1, and when I at Ozarks, I promised I wouldn't be like that, and it worked out. But
You weren't as bad of a mess as I was on live.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. And that was really funny. When I watched that back, it was so funny. Oh my God. But for example, like I'll talk about the Chesapeake Bay. Like I went into it with an open mindset. You know, I knew the flats were a player, but I got out there and I wasn't feeling comfortable with the flats. I felt like there was, when we were there, it was tough, right?
Oh yeah.
On average, it was tough.
It was tough as it gets.
Yeah,
that time of year. Yeah,
that's what I figured. And so I just took my boat and ran down as far as I could go in that gunpowder region. And like, that's the type of stuff I felt like in 2021, I would have just forced the flats to work because it looked beautiful. It was grass. It was comfortable for like a New York style, you know, aside from the tide. But 2022, I just opened up my mindset to like the unknown. And I just fished like from natural instinct. And that's when I really started to build my, understanding of how it all worked. And then that gave me the confidence going into 2023 that I could do it. Cause I actually finished 10th in AOY, same exact place as I finished in 2023. And missed it by, the Red River I bombed, but that was the year that really helped my growth as an angler because I had some success, right? And I built off it.
That's really impressive. I mean, 2 really good years in a row, and it's so hard to do.
It really is, especially on the opens, like just the sheer size of the field, and I mean, it is as cutthroat as it gets. It's impressive.
How did you deal with? You've done so well 2 years in a row. How are you dealing with that big giant field? Like that's one of this past year. Like you're on your top 5 areas that you want to fish are all occupied. So you got to go to plan D, E, and F. How are you so successful at dealing with that big field 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way I practice, I think, that differentiates it. I mean, a lot of guys do it, JT, all these guys. I think it's having everyone talks about having a lot of different deals going on. You have to know the A pattern, the B pattern, the C pattern, the D pattern. And I break it out, right? So I have A area. I really like to have an A area. And to me, an A area is a place where, and it's hard, right? Because you don't want to set the hook. A lot of guys set the hook too much, in my opinion. But if I get 2, maybe 3 bites in an area, and I can see them on, forward facing, see a bunch of structure on 360, really like that area, I consider that an A area where I feel like I can top 20 an event. Like if things go wrong, I feel like I can cut a check, right? That's an A area to me. A B area is somewhere where I feel like I can get some good bites, but maybe it's not as concentrated. So maybe I have to move around on the trolling motor some more. And then a C area is, to me, a place where, I can get bites, but they're not the right ones, right? They're, 2 pounders, maybe 2.5. And if you're lucky, a 3. Anything can happen, but, I'm just categorizing A, B, C. And then a D area is some place, right? A very individual area. Like, I guess I wouldn't even call it area, just a small stretch where like, okay, I think I can get bit on that. Maybe I got a bite there, but it's like a 1 fish, maybe 2 fish deal. And those are the areas that you don't want to have to rely on because it's a small area. There aren't a lot of fish there. Maybe there's one good one. Maybe there's one small one there. But if someone gets to do it before you, you're out of luck. Like it's a 1 spot area. That's a D area. So I try to center my practice around finding A and D areas. And once I find an A or a B area, or maybe two B areas and an A area, I concentrate. I cut out a lot of the lake, and I concentrate in depending on how big the lake is, say a 5 or 10 mile, like that's where my practice is going to go down for the most part. For example, the Chesapeake Bay, I found that little backwater in Gunpowder. Once I found that, I'm like, this is an A area. This is where I'm fishing. Now I'm going to leave because there's no need to fish here anymore. And I'm going to break down from the mouth of Gunpowder in so that I have areas to hit on the way back to the ramp. I always find an area near the ramp. I just have a lot of areas, high percentage areas, whether it be A, B, C, or D. And D areas have helped me a lot, right? Like you have one dock that you hit on the way back in, you can catch a 5-pounder. Like the difference between a 70th place finish and a 30th place finish is one fish most of the time. Right. So I just find a lot of different, I try to find a lot of different fishable high percentage areas, but in route. Like the timing is a huge thing. Like I don't want to go too far out of my way. Perfect example is Ozarks. I found an area kind of far away down by the bridge. I started there, fished it, and then on my way back, I was able to hit a D area, and then a B slash that turned. It was a B area that turned into an A area. So, and that was right near the ramp. So it was all in a line, like all, it followed back to the ramp.
It's smooth. It's like you get in that good rotation of fishing, and it just starts to flow like naturally. Like you don't feel like you need to make a zigzag pattern all the way around the lake because you already know, like, I'm going to start down here and I have my route back. Check, and you just keep sliding through your spots and you just fish smooth.
And that's where the confidence piece comes in. If you're fishing an area and you know that you have another area to go to if it doesn't work out, you're a little more confident. Like, at Ozarks, I was pitching a jig under docks and in some brush, and I knew that I had an area to go to by the ramp where I felt like I could catch 14 pounds, 13, 14 pounds. So I'm able to, in that A area, say, you know what, I'm going to try this little area next to it because I'm confident if I don't catch them here that I can go back. And that's what won me the tournament. Because my A area at Ozarks was totally toast. Like what I thought was going to be my A area, I fished through for an hour, didn't get one fish. And then I was running back through my, cycle, right? I was running back and I said, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm totally need to fish that. I literally just saw it with my eyes. And I was like, I got to run in there because I bet you it sets up similar to how that my A area was. And they might have just moved, or there might be a new way. Pull in there, catch a 5. And then I catch a 4. And it was just like cycled through. And it was all because I felt confident trying something new because of a B area I had down by the ramp. So that's a huge deal for me is the confidence piece to do something off the wall or different in a tournament because you have a backup.
Love this. I love this strategy, like identifying your premium areas, B, C, and it really, gosh almighty, there's so many distractions in tournament fishing. There's dock talk, there's weather changes, there's so many facets involved in decision making, but to be able to break it down with that kind of clarity, man, I can see that helping mentally so much in you being able to make good decisions.
So much. It's so helpful. And that started that. So that mindset that I had, it started at a lake in upstate New York called Keuka. Right.
I've heard of that.
I fished there, and that's where I had like a lot of success to start my mindset changing to maybe I can try to fish the opens. Right. And yeah, it was only on one lake. So that's where my doubt was. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty dominant at this lake for this certain amount of time, but you never know. But that lake is where I figured out that that's the pattern. That's how I need to break down bodies of water, is have a clean, smooth, I don't even know what you want to call it, route, or, that what I was talking about, having that clean, like, route back to the ramp or away from the ramp, whatever way you're going to, run. And so it's cool to apply that to all kinds of bodies of water. And it's neat how it actually works. Like it works at every body of water. And there are some
system
where I don't use that system, right? Like at Wheeler, the result looks better than it was. I was fishing stumps out on the flats there, and I had told my co-angler at 11 pounds, and I had 2 hours left to fish, and this is the stuff that is just off the wall. I told my co-angler, this is going to be the dumbest thing I've ever done, or I'm going to look like a genius. Picked up my trolling motor. I ran an hour up the river.
Holy
It was
smoke.
like 45 minutes, and 45 minutes up the river where I thought I saw a fry garter, and I put my trolling motor down, throw out, catch a 4 3/4. And I knew that was the only fish in the little area. Called out a 1, put it in the well. Before he stood up on the back, I was like, we got to go, dude. And I ran all the way back and made it back with 2 minutes to weigh him.
Holy smoke.
That is like the bass god shining down on you. And that's like not a planned thing, right? Like that's where you just stuff like that happens, and you're just like, wow, like that's when you know that it's meant to be. Like, you know, I that's when, you know what I mean? Like when you have those moments where you're just like, wow, that is lucky, but only the people that work really hard get lucky. So it's like,
yeah. Well, you got to know when to take that and make that move, you know? And what a great move. What an amazing story. I love the strategy, because it adds clarity, because you can get so unfocused when all the pressures of the tournament are weighing down on you. So to have a repeatable, consistent strategy is, man, it's obvious that it's successful. It's certainly successful for you. JT's put 700 hours on his motor last year. Are you putting in that kind of time, or what kind of practice time are you applying to these tournaments?
I mean, I wish I could say I have. So I just recently quit my medical sales job full time. I quit that so I can really focus on the fishing and the fishing industry, because I work for a lot of the companies that I'm partnered with. I do a lot of work on the back end aside from, you know, sponsorship obligations, right? Because those two are separate. Sponsorship obligations and work are two separate things, and I try to do both as much as I can. And so in order for me to go all in on the elites and all in the fishing industry, I had to quit that. But I couldn't put that amount of time in because I was having to make sales calls all the time, right? And so and I'm not knocking anyone. Like everyone's got their own deal, right? And that is impressive to put that. Like JT works so hard. Like I know him personally. No one works harder than him. At least last year, no one in the opens put in the time that JT did, and that's a fact. I didn't put. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I mean, I didn't put that time in, but I would this year. I plan to put that much time in this year. Like I'm leaving from here. I'm in New Jersey now, getting the boat and truck wrapped from VFX, and I'll leave to do 12 days down at Grand Lake to pre-practice the Classic before that goes off limits. And then I've got a whole schedule planned out for the elites, because I truly think that's what you need to do to compete with guys like, you know, all these guys that have been fishing these bodies of water for, 10, 15, 20 years. Like you need to put that time in. But last year, no, I fished the practice days. I never pre-practiced one tournament. And I was pretty confident that I only needed 4.5 days. And that's why I think that you can still hold a job, the right job, right? And like you need to communicate that. But I think you can do the opens and have another job. I really do. But it takes communication and obviously the right situation as well.
That's impressive, man. That's that all the more important reason to have a system like that makes sense and works for you to manage, competing against guys that are putting in endless amounts of practice time. So that's really impressive stuff. The win at the Ozarks, man, that has to have you over the moon. I mean, you're going to the Classic, man. That's I mean, so few people ever get to do that, and here you go, going to Grand Lake in just a couple of months.
Yeah, it's gonna be surreal. I hope I don't botch it. It's so funny, Pete. Like, I feel like it was I really feel like it was yesterday that I was watching the Classic and like in awe over these guys. Like, so it's just, I think I have a little bit still of imposter like syndrome. Like, you know what I mean by that? Like
imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So like it's
is this really happening to me?
Right. Like it's when you are like, am I like I'm where I wanted to be? Like this is a dream. So it's hard to catch up because it happens so quickly. Like boom, I qualified for the Classic. I won an Open on the Elite Series. Like, so it's hard to process it all because I am like a diehard fan of all the guys on the Elite Series, Bassmaster as a whole, the fishing industry. So now that I'm like totally involved and on the elites and like working for companies in the fishing industry, it's just a lot to process. So when you ask me questions like that, like I don't think about it on the day to day because I'm so involved with getting what I need to get done and scheduling out and, you know, doing as much as I can for my sponsors that I don't really think about the Classic and the fact that I made the elites as much as, but until someone asks me that question, it's just like, it all just kind of like floods in that I'm going to the Classic competing. It truly is a dream come true. If you know, it's nuts. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, well, it's awesome, and you know, we're going to be watching and rooting for you. And it, you know, my only advice is not to get caught up in the deer in the headlights thing with all the, you know, the media and the cameras and the fans are everywhere, and it's advice that was told to me by George Cochran, who I just saw at the Hall of Fame. It was great to see him again, who won 2 Classics. He says, don't ever forget there's a tournament going on at that event. Yeah. And
yeah, I've heard it can get crazy.
So important. It's very distracting.
Yeah, I'm going to really try my best. I think I'll be able to do it. But at the same time, I got to take in a little bit how special it is to be there. Like it's going to be pretty wild.
Well, if the fishing isn't going your way and you're gets late into the tournament and it's just that you're having a crummy tournament for whatever reason, my best advice is make sure you fall in on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Break the trolling motor cable and go over. The way you rolled over the boat was special. Like I don't think I could fall in.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah. I don't think I could fall in the water that way. It was like you tucked in and just went.
You know what was happening to me? I was tripping over my crankbait rod and some other stuff, and when I felt myself going, I'm just like, you know what? Just go.
Yeah.
Just don't try to stop because you'll break a rib, you'll break your head on the road. Just go. You know.
That's so funny.
I'm
gonna watch that when we get off.
Yeah, that's gonna stay with me forever. But let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
What kind of fisherman are you? Like, are you a power fisherman? Do you specialize in finesse techniques, or if I had to ask you what your strength is, what would you say?
I grew up. I'll do a little like precursor. So from 16 to what am I, 26 now? 16 to 22, I was a bank fisherman, sight fishing largemouth in New York. I love to sight fish, flipping docks, sight fishing. That is what I love to do and what I have always caught them doing in New York. Like a lot of people don't know, I don't NIDA at the Open when I think I finished 22nd. I think I weighed 8 largemouth. that I saw. I sight fished every largemouth that I caught there. And that's what I like to do. Now this year's opened, everyone, like, you know, a lot of people are chirping live scope. I've got people chirping that I only live scope and that's all I can do. And so does everyone who made the top, the elites. We couldn't make it if we didn't have live scope. But that's just something I like live scope. I really do. I enjoy it, but that's not how I truly like to fish. That's how I had to fish. Like I adapted because it's really hard to catch him in an open on the bank because it gets beat up badly. And it's ironic, the 2 days, the 2 days prior to Championship Saturday at the Ozarks, I was flipping docks and brush pretty much. So it's funny that the minute live turns on, I'm live scoping brush piles. It's just funny how that works. But yeah, but that's how I like to fish. I like to flip. I like to get up and be super precise on the bank, and you know, precise down to like, okay, that tree and stump comes in, and then there's like a little nook. Like I want to put my jig right here, and then I want to put it in the nook, and then so that's how I like to fish. But it's hard to fish that way to make the elites. I'm excited because we're going to big bodies of water, 100-boat field. There's going to be a lot more bank fishing for me in 2024. I'm going to tell you that right now for sure.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
100%. Now, am I going to live scope? 100%. I'm going to use my forward-facing sonar. There's no question about it. But I'm going to keep that bite honest. I mean, that's how I like to fish. So I would consider, you know, getting up against the bank, you know, getting into tight spaces with a jig or a creature. Like that's how I like to fish. That's what I enjoy. I also really enjoy sight fishing with a wacky Senko, like John Cox style. Like that's how I qualified for the elites. On the last day, I was up in that spring-fed canal in Florida, and no, I didn't have a great bag, but that's the bag I needed, and I did it on a Senko in crystal clear Florida water.
Nice. That's really interesting. Fishing the elites for the new open qualifiers. It's going to be like you're fishing on a weekday. Well, you are, but like it's going to feel like there's no fishing pressure.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So cool.
The opens, they get hammered. The pressure is crazy. That's why it's so hard. That's why a lot of people find the first year they do it, or you know, sometimes it's hard to get your feet, you know, under you because it is just crazy. You pull into a little cove, boom, there's 4 boats in there. You go into the next one, boom, there's 4 boats in there. So that's where I said, you know, I got to find offshore stuff. That's just how it had to go because of that pressure. And so I am really excited about the, you know, less pressure.
Let me ask you this. And we saw Tyler Williams 3/4 ounce jig, forward facing sonar. JT does that a lot too. You got any sneaky tricks on you know, tools and weapons you're using with forward face? I know a lot of the guys are all about finesse tactics to trigger those bites. What do you got for us?
I've already spilled the beans on it. So that, I mean, it's funny, man. Like I use 2 baits to make the Elite Series. Forget like the wacky Senko here and there and like, you know, some random stuff. But my 2 main baits, 95% of the time, they're all used 20-pound line. It's a 20-pound, it's a 3/4 ounce jig from Greenfish with a chunky D missile baits on the back. That's what I want Ozarks on.
Wow,
and then
another jig guy.
That is the bait that I have on my deck 24/7. And then the other bait I have on my deck 24/7 that got me a 13th at Toledo, an 11th in Oklahoma, at why am I blanking? Eufaula, Oklahoma, where else? Bugs Island. Every one of those events was on a magic worm from Missile Baits, and the way I power shot it. So I throw a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce weight, about 12 inches between the weight and the hook. I use a heavy duty, like 1/0 or 2/0 heavy duty what's the hook? The cover shot hook, and the heavy duty. It's got to be heavy duty wire, because when I get that bite, I am setting the hook like a jig and cranking him in. Like, so I'm drop shotting that magic worm, and I get made fun of. JT makes fun of me all the time. He's like, "Do you have that stupid blue worm on your deck again?" And that's the worm I use. I think it's Bruiser Flash. The Bruiser Flash color. The blue magic worm was a killer, an absolute killer. So Bugs Island, I think I finished 22nd or 18th or something. 13th at Toledo Bend on that worm. 11th at Oklahoma, in Oklahoma at Eufaula on that worm alone. I did not throw one other bait. That worm in 3 events made me all those finishes. I think at what's the one? Alabama. Where did we go? Decatur. In Decatur, Wheeler. Yep. Wheeler. I used that worm I weighed 8 out of 10 fish on that worm.
So that's interesting to me. Like another 3/4 ounce jig guy. This is awesome. Let me dive into that 3/4 ounce for just a second. Like, why? What is it about that weight? Like, not a half, not a 1 ounce. The 3/4 ounce jig is like what all you guys are using. What is it? Because of the depth? Is it because of the fall rate? What's the feel? What's special about the 3/4?
Yeah, so the 3/4, it's a control thing, right? Like it's a control, because you're making longer casts. You're throwing it in brush, on rock, in offshore, and the fall rate is one that's huge. Like a quicker fall rate reaction bite deal, because again, people are going to hate me for this as the forward-facing sonar haters, but when you're looking at them on forward-facing sonar, you can get them to react by using your rod or your reel. So like on day 2, this wasn't on live, but on day 2 at Ozarks, I had to throw the jig, let it fall, and then I'd watch them swim like around it. Like they would literally like swim around it like sharks, right?
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 of them. And then the way I would get the bite is I would just crank my reel really fast, and the jig would come up and they would eat it just like on a reaction strike. So that 3/4 ounce gives you the ability. It has the perfect control aspect of you make it do what you want it to. The 1/2 ounce, it's just not the same, and the 1 ounce is just too heavy. It's a weird weight to throw in those scenarios to me. And credit to Tyler Williams. He's the one that he is like, he helped me with that technique in the beginning of the year. But that is the deal. It really is. At least this past year with that schedule, that was the deal. I don't know,
That's so interesting. And man, it makes a lot of sense, because you can get that bait down around the habitat and make it do what you want it to do without being overbearing like a 1 ounce, without drifting or floating too slow like a half wood or a lighter bait.
And that rubber skirt is a huge player as well, because you can dead stick that bait and you can move it like barely, just a little bit, and that rubber skirt just goes nuts. Even when you dead stick it, that rubber skirt's down there. Just like, I have a video on YouTube at what it looks like in the water. And I explain why the jig's so good. And it's literally, the skirt is always just like flowing with, like, if you're in current, the skirt's going to be flowing with the current. If you're in like a little bit of chop, you can see the skirt just moving by itself. And that is a big factor. I think dead sticking it is a deal for sure.
That's so awesome. Now take us to this drop shot. Well, you're throwing it around the same stuff. You're throwing in brush piles, rocks. You're throwing it in. It's not like you're fishing open water with 20-pound test. And I'm assuming that's why your rig's so heavy, because you're going right in after them.
Man, that is the bait. That is the bait right there. To be honest with you, I am throwing it in open water a lot of times. And I just like the hook to land ratio. I'm going to get them to bite it anyway. I'm not a believer for largemouth, especially on these bodies of water we were at this year. I'm not a believer that you need 12-pound test on a spinning rod.
Yep.
I think that if you're in the right area and the fish are biting, you're presenting correctly, I'm going to get just as many bites. And when I finished 11th at that tournament in Oklahoma, there was like 7 or 8 boats in the same area. And I was I think I was the highest finisher in that area. I did see Trey McKinney come in, and he top 10, but I don't think that was his primary area. I sat in one stretch going back and forth like this pretty much the whole tournament. And they were just coming in, swimming out, and I was just live scoping, using my forward facing sonar with that worm the whole time. Did not pick up another rod. Day 2, I had 3 rods, all with the Bruiser Flash magic worm and the same exact setup.
That's awesome. By the way, you can get 30% off Bruiser Flash worms if you're a member of Bash University. Take advantage of your member benefits there and go pick up some missile baits. That's awesome. Tyler calls it that stupid blue worm. I don't
Tyler
think
and JT, they both make fun of that blue worm every time. It's so
and I don't think John Cruz appreciates that moniker.
Yeah, they make fun of that worm, yet you can't argue with the results. I got to tell you, like that blue worm is the deal.
Well, why do you throw that bait there? It looks stupid. Well, because they bite it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone goes with the pink. There's like, people like the classic like Robo Worm pink. More, Aaron's Morning Dawn. Like, I just think that different look, the blue. I mean, everyone throws a black and blue jig. Why wouldn't you throw a black and blue worm, right? Like that was my simple. Just I'm gonna try this worm, and I think I first tried it at Toledo. That was the first time that I tried the blue one, and that's what I caught him on. So I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this for a little bit, and it proved to work really well.
So we're actually gonna have a seminar from John Cruz this January, and he's doing the seminar. It's called The Skinny on Straight Tail Worms, and he's breaking down the difference between the magic worm, the 48, and the like the Ned Bomb style.
Yeah.
So or the quiver rather. So that's going to be really freaking cool. That magic worm is that's cashed some checks. It's won some tournaments. It's a special little deal.
Yep. Oh, 100%. I'm telling you, that worm is the reason I made the Elite Series for sure. Like without a doubt. Now
I'm just going to keep showing it.
And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Why I like that worm more than any other worm. And take missile baits out of it. Like I'm not like shamelessly sponsor plugging. I'm telling like this is legitimate. That worm is a little bit thicker with the ribs on it, right? It had like your average straight tail worm, like just straight from Robo Worm. They're really good for like a spotted bass technique, right? They're really good for like lighter line. But I throw that 20-pound test and that thicker hook. So that worm, the profile is just a little thicker and it's got those ribs. So it can handle a bigger hook for bigger hook sets and better fish to land ratio. That's why that worm is so good. It's just got that correct profile it's kind of between like a Zoom straight tail worm that's really thick and then the Robo Worm that's really thin. And that thickness is just perfect for a power shot setup. That is
interesting.
In your power shot setup, are you mentioned that you're going 20-pound fluoro, right? With that,
yep.
Are you going direct, or are you going a braid to leader setup?
I am straight sunline fluoro.
No kidding. And you don't. So I've messed around with that technique a good bit too, power shotting, and one of the things that kills me with it is the line twists. Like if you fish it for long enough, you get line twists from the drop shot spinning as you're bringing it in. And I've always wanted to experiment with on a spinning rod, we use a braid to fluoro leader. Why not do that on a bait caster and alleviate the line twist? But
yeah, no, that's a good. I've thought about it. My deal is I'm setting the hook so hard.
You don't
this.
want
I don't want any mess around. I don't want another knot. I like at Toledo, I was throwing it around standing timber a lot of it. Like I caught a 6-pounder on my third cast on that bait out in like 23 to 27, whatever, in that range. And there was a ton of standing timber. So I felt more confident like leaning on them and not having a knot to rub against the timber down there. So I think that and you will get line twist here and there. I think it's not a factor though. If you have 2 or 3 rods, like you might get line twist towards the end of the day and you just pick up another rod. But I'm willing to deal with that for the
benefits
factor. Yeah.
Interesting. That's great, man. That's great technical stuff. It's so interesting how the power fishermen are dominating, on the elites this year. Just like we were just working with Brian Schmidt, and he's, he loves that worm too, but he uses power techniques in his application with forward-facing sonar quite a bit. Let me ask you this: the elites are coming. Are they coming your backyard this year? I can't remember what the schedule is. Do you have anything in New York?
Yeah, we have the St. Lawrence and Champlain, and Ronnie Moore brought me on before St. Lawrence because I was up there in AOY, and I'm like, I told him before the show, I'm like, dude, I don't really know the St. Lawrence River. I'm like, that I'm not dialed on the St. Lawrence River like some of these other guys, just because it's in New York. Like I have very little experience on the St. Lawrence. Champlain, I think I have had 3 or 4 tournaments there. I've done decently well there, but that whole alewife stuff, like I haven't gotten dialed in on that yet. So yeah, they're coming to my backyard, but not to me. Like if they were going to Cayuga, I would be like, yes, they're coming to my backyard. But
right.
St. Lawrence, Champlain, somewhat in the backyard, but not like that I'm like overly excited for that tournament, just specifically.
I got you. Well, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to be fishing close to home. I'm sure you'll get some local support coming out there and cheering you on. I love your social media. It's a lot of fun. Is it true that you are the most interesting fisherman in the world?
I don't think so, but it makes a good video. I'm not the most interesting fisherman in the world, but it makes a good video. I'm sure people could make the argument that Ike or someone else is the most interesting fisherman in the world. But no, it's funny. There's some really funny stuff on there. Even I make myself laugh sometimes.
That's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I want to recommend going out and checking out your TikTok channel. It's some entertaining stuff that is it's cool to see somebody putting out like that, where you don't take yourself too seriously. You have a lot of fun with it, man. It's pretty cool. Sponsorship hunt. Anything you want to talk about? I know it's got to be tough right now. Everybody's hunting sponsors. The elite tournament trail's got a big price tag on it. What's happening with you?
Yeah. I've got some really cool things in the works. I signed a deal with a new company for the industry. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but I am very excited about this sponsor. And they're going to come into the fishing industry, and I think they're going to make some pretty cool plays. I'm going to try to go above and beyond and try to make something happen for the industry's benefit. I want to bring financial literacy to the forefront of bass fishing, because I think we struggle with that.
We need that for sure.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of the titles. Powerhouse Lithium and Douglas have been with me, and I am very involved with those two companies. Kanka Customs, like I've got a great support group, and that's how I've been able to quit my job. It's rare. I'm lucky to have figured out how to make the sponsorships happen and be able to provide for myself and, have my entry fees covered, and, be able to, really dive into the industry and not have to worry about a second job or
good for you.
Yeah, it's I'm lucky for sure. And it's not that, and it's not easy. That's the thing. Like I work every day, every single day. It's not easy. And I've taken a little different approach than most, I think, and that's been helpful. Just providing legitimate value, working for the company, and then saying, hey, I made the Elite Series. On top of me continuing to work for you, can you provide me with X so that I can go out and do this on your behalf, but also continue to do the back end work that I've been doing for you. I think it's a different way to do it, and I think it yields. It's fresh for the industry, not to constantly have someone asking, and not giving value before asking for free money, essentially. Right. So that's, it's like what you guys do, right? You provide that the podcast is the value. You have a great platform, education. You're providing tons of value to your listeners, and in turn, a ton of value to the people that support you, and that's tangible. It's there. But I think a lot of people fall into the trap of we've seen it. I'm not gonna call anyone out because everyone has their own learning process, but a lot of people in the industry have a false sense of how it works, and that it's hard. It really is hard.
It is hard, and you have to split your time, and you've done a masterful job with it. Like even working your job and just practicing in the official practice period and accomplishing what you have is just tremendous. How you're able to manage all that. So we're looking for you to do that same thing on the Elites. It's going to be fun watching you, and fun watching you at the Classic. It's really cool. I'm very appreciative and humbled that you've watched some Bass University content and value that. It means a lot to me personally. I appreciate that, and I want to wish you all the best along the route. Congratulations, man! It's been awesome. Can't wait to watch the rest.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. It's awesome to be here. It really is.
Man, we're looking forward to seeing some big things. Thanks so much for being with us, and we'll be watching you at the Classic, buddy. Good luck,
guys.
Man, what an amazing deal, Rich. Just so successful. 2 years in a row on the Opens in a massive, difficult field. Really, in essence, being elite competitive, right out of the gate. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, really. The back-to-back top 10s in the Open,
crazy good
for overall points, and here's another thing, to do it in two different formats. This year it was everybody had to fish all 9 if you wanted a chance to qualify for the Elites. Well, the year before in 2022, you could still only fish 3 for a division and have your name in the hat essentially to qualify for the Elites. So I can't say this for sure, but I'd imagine that before they changed to all 9, every single stop that the Opens went to, when you only had to fish 3 to qualify, you're getting every local killer that wants to throw their name in the ring there too. So I don't know which. They're both really impressive to go top 10 2 years in a row in the Opens, but I don't know if 2023 is more impressive or 2022 because of the difference in the format. But any way you slice it, it's a hell of a job.
It's amazing stuff. Very impressive, Jocelyn.
Yes, it was.
We guys, we want to give away some stuff. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to give away the Dan Allen special.
Yeah, guys, but remember, we're doing it a little different now. So we're going to be typing the trivia questione into the chat board, and that's how you're going to get to see it. So, guys, you got to be a Bass U TV member. It's a great time to get signed up. If you're just over there milling around and you're not really sure if you want to do it, well, guess what? Jump in the mix. It's helping guys get better. Another one right here, Kyle Patrick, just on, longtime Bass U subscriber. Now he's going to be out there on the Elites. The information is good. Use code BULive30. You can get 30 days of free access at any time. Use that code.
All right, guys. We'll be back right after this.
the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick, every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Wormman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Cortland Line Master Braid, America's premium super braided fishing line. Manufactured in our Cortland, New York facility and constructed from the highest quality Spectra fibers available. Cortland Line Company, made in America since 1915.
I have to have the best eyewear.
My eyes are essential to doing my job.
It's the highest quality lens that I've ever used.
Top of the line performance in these glasses.
But they're priced for absolutely everyone. The everyday angler can afford them.
As a touring professional pro, if I can depend on them, I know the weekend angler can as well. Hobie eyewear, built for the pros.
Price for everyone.
And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody. Man, what a neat deal talking to Kyle, man. Really likable young man, having a lot of success in fishing and sponsorship end of the game too, and doing well on social media. Looking like he's up and running, off to bigger and better things. What's up, Stefan? I just want to give you a shout out, Mr. Stefan Walden, one of our guys at Bass U. We missed your question. We didn't get it over to him, Stefan, but it's good to have you with us. And we're going to give away some stuff. Last chance to like and share the feed. We're going to be giving away some Cortland fishing line, and we have a grand prize trivia question. Riz, what do you got?
Yeah. All right. Here's the grand prize trivia question that I'm not going to say because I'm going to type it in the message board.
All right. Well, we appreciate all you guys, and we've also got a Bass University subscriber of the week, which we're going to be showcasing that guy. We also want to give a shout out to 5 Alive Bassmasters who had their banquet this weekend. And
they did. So not funny. I don't know. What am I even saying here? Yeah, the gentleman who won a annual membership to Bass University, his name is Jared Dittmer.
Yep.
I used to coach Jared Dittmer in baseball like 10 years ago.
Get out of here.
And I saw the image and I saw the name pop up and I was like, that's pretty cool. I know Jared. He was a really good ball player, and I talked with Timmy yesterday, and it sounds like he's getting his feet underneath of him in the tournament game as well. So I got to teach him.
Welcome to the family.
Teach him baseball a long time ago, and now the Bass University is going to be able to teach him some fishing. So
That's a great club, Five Alive. There, I mean, they're like 140 members, something like that strong. It's really cool to see the fishing clubs, be alive and well. It's how I started fishing. I was in 2 clubs when I was young, just getting started in the sport. I loved it. Loved all the mentoring. Loved getting to compete and fish with all the other guys in the club. It was just so much fun. And that club is really just tearing it up. I want to get dialed into the other clubs that are, the big clubs that are having a lot of success around the country. It was such a big part of the foundation of fishing when it was in its early years. Everybody was in a club. Everybody was part of the federation. And it was a really, really cool experience. But did you ask that question, Rich?
I did, and I'm getting picky. I'm going to make somebody spell it correctly.
Good luck. I can't even say it. And now that the question is up,
there was a bunch of not a bunch. There was a few incorrect guesses because there's 2 lakes that sound pretty similar.
Yeah.
So because it has that nature, we're gonna get the correct spelling.
And the question is for you guys is we're looking for the lake that he developed his strategy of, basically areas A through D.
Only mentioned it one time on the show, so you really had to be paying attention.
This is
I believe I see. They're just not spelling it right. I'm gonna be a stiffler on this one.
As it should be.
Rich, be nice.
But what a cool deal to be able to develop that strategy, apply it, around the country. There was some neat stuff like Brandon Polinick has a strategy, which is the power triangle that he teaches, and he's taught with us at Bass University. And that's an approach, similar thinking in my mind, to where you're applying a repeatable strategy. So the body of water doesn't matter. The amount of experience you have on the body of water doesn't matter.
People are just like throwing letters together now.
Well, we do have a like and share winner, so I'll announce that.
Who do we have?
Jared Galloway. Congrats.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks for watching.
And while people were
liking and sharing
and figuring out this trivia question,
yep.
I sent this to Rich yesterday, but I found it really funny. The Oxford University Press named the word Riz as the word of the year.
What?
That's right.
That's awesome.
Word of the year that you gave me that nickname, Pete.
See, once again, I'm ahead of the curve.
That's right. That is right.
That's
Riz.
Yeah, what is, how do they define it? Let's hear, because I know what it's like.
It's just short for charisma.
Yeah, it's like you're super cool. Wow. When you're Riz, you got it going on.
That's just weird.
Charisma. Okay. Leave it at that.
Oxford English Dictionary defines Riz as style, charm, or attractiveness, and the ability to attract a romantic partner.
How about that?
How long are we going to give these guys on this trivia question? Oh,
did it come through?
Thomas R. with the correct answer. Yes, sir. Cayuga Lake. You had to be paying attention. It was not Cayuga.
Yeah.
It was Cayuga. They are different bodies of water.
That's right.
Congratulations, Thomas R.
Yeah. Way to go, Thomas R. For those of you that aren't from the New York area, they sound very similar. Cayuga or Cayuga and Cayuga, which is what, where he trained on. Pretty awesome stuff. Great that you were paying attention. Great guess. Even better spelling. That's awesome. And I'm just thrilled that you guys are with us today. We want to showcase our subscriber of the week. Who do we have a picture of, Rich?
This week, our subscriber of the week is our good buddy Pake. Pake is holding up looks to be a nice big stringer of largemouth there, rocking a Bass U hat that's that's pretty worn in there.
Weathered.
So,
yes. That's a good luck hat, man.
Love to see that. Pake South. Congratulations, Pake South. You are the subscriber of the week.
Thank you, man. Thanks for being part of Bass University. So cool to see Kyle, also a Bass University user and subscriber, man. It's amazing that so many of the high caliber anglers are using it to get to the next level. And wherever we go, people come up and tell us how it's helped them become more consistent anglers. I love that. Look for amazing, new, and informative content to be coming your way. Our classes get started in January. Very excited about our speaker lineup. We've got a mix of some of the youngest, most talented anglers on the planet and the best, names in fishing. Some of the guys like Gerald Swindle, Greg Hackney, the greatest minds the sport has seen, Ike, and many, many more, John Cruz. So we've got a really amazing mix of new talent and veterans that have made this sport what it is, all going to be brought to you at Bass University. Whether you're on site or you're watching online, it's coming your way in 2024. Look for that. So get yourself signed up to tickets or to bassu.tv. Check it out. Thanks so much for watching. We're going to catch up with you guys next week with another episode of Bass U Live. But Riz has one more thing to add.
All right, I got one more thing because Jocelyn brought up the word of the year being Riz. That is not a self-proclaimed nickname. Okay, I feel like I have to now explain that, and it being that it's been my social media handle for so long and whatever. That is not a self-proclaimed nickname. You guys are about to see the true origin of really the word Riz. I give you and Ike credit for creating it. It kind of happened naturally. So we'll roll the show out to that.
You're rolling out to that actual clip,
so that I don't have to explain myself as I'm not biting off anybody's style. It was given to me. So.
It's my miscue that this name came about. So I look forward to seeing. What are you going to watch me fall in the water after that?
Right.
All right. Well,
it's Pick on Pete Day.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. Well, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
But yeah, let's introduce Rich in a proper manner.
Oh yes, proper. Rich, proper ass, proper.
We'd like to introduce Riz.
Riz.
Leadbeater.
What up,
Riz?
AKA Remax Rich.
Rich, you got your first nickname. It only took one show with me here.
I like
the
it.
Riz.
Officially the Riz.
Yo, Riz.